as a dispatcher, over half the time, it was perceived that I was in charge of the company revenue. And I did not understand that at all. That's what I'm saying.
See, I don't get that. I get that because you're right. We don't know what they're paying. I mean, I do have some guys that tell me this is what I pay per day, what I need to make per day, that kind of thing.
Well, there you
and
go.
I appreciate that. I would rather know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But you can't say that you're going to make that per day.
No, I can't guarantee anything because we don't have a crystal ball. We do not know what loads are going to come up. We don't know when we send you to the next place. Yeah, we're already looking for that other load, but I don't know how good it's going to pay. I don't know. I mean, I try to send you into places that I know pay good money. But once again, I do not have a crystal ball. This week may suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't know.
That's right.
But most of my guys don't expect me to have that crystal ball. They know that I do the best that I can for them. And that's what they expect. And that's what I do. And there's only a couple guys that I've had over the years that have said, okay, you're not making me enough money. I'm going to go do this, whatever. I get it. If that's, that's what it is, that's what it is. I'm going to do the best I can do for whatever I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sue, I think, now I apologize. Dispatchers are way needed. Oh, lies.
Okay, say that again.
I was just telling you, I totally believe in dispatchers. I think my problem is that people get into this business without thinking about this in advance.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
That's what rubs me really.
I completely agree with you. Yeah. You know how many times I have someone call me and they say exactly that. They don't know what to do, where to go.
Oh.
And I can only
whoa.
Send them what? They don't know what to do, where to go. They don't even usually have their MC number. They don't even know how to get it. They don't know there's such a thing as a consortium. I mean,
but they got out of truck and trailer, Sue.
Yes, I know. I know.
I mean, what's the problem? Let's go.
Well, yeah, and they don't even. Do you have a CDL? And they're like, oh,
load me up.
I got a truck and trailer.
Load me up.
So, well, again, they don't even have their CDL yet. Okay, so they have a truck and trailer, but no CDL.
Right.
So
here's what I'm saying, Sue. Dispatch is critical, absolutely critical. I think it would be better if it was built within your organization, your company.
Oh, yeah.
Is organically grown. Here's my dispatcher now that I've trained for the last 30 years.
Right.
Okay, so technology has taken us to a place where Murphy Auto Transport, right?
Right.
Technology is amazing. I can't say I always like it, but it is pretty amazing. So again, I'm not saying dispatch is bad. I'm saying people really need to think about this business.
That's right. And I really do. I want to clarify too, is that one of the reasons why I talk about this is what dispatch shouldn't be such a nightmare.
Right. I agree.
Why is it? Why?
Because everybody is relying on somebody else with technology to make my life better. That's where I get tanked up about this whole central dispatch problem.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now that I'm caught up on time.
All right. Thank you, Don.
All right. So central dispatch was created to eliminate dispatchers. That was the whole point, is that the guy should be able to get in his truck, get a button. I got the load. I'm going down the road or whatever. It's gotten more complicated than that. Now we're adding COIs. We're adding several layers of stuff added onto it. It involves faxing, receiving, getting different information for the customer. Everybody's competing for the same damn loads. It's not the same thing as what it was. When I first got into it, I was trying to do everything myself. Well, good luck driving down the road, swerving out of your lane and hooking up with loads coming back. So that's why you get a dispatcher. And I got Jay. Right. And Jay and I talked originally. I mean, I can tell you from a first-time car hauler, I started with everything I had, relying on this guy on the other end of the phone, Jay, that sold me on, hey, I'm going to get you a load back. And that was the whole point. It just started with the load back. That's all it needed.
That's right. I was your backhaul.
Take 5%, 7%. 10% is getting kind of sketchy, but 5%, 7% or whatever, get me back. And I'm looking at it like a lot of these guys with 10 cars going, well, I'm going to take a car that's not going to pay very good, fill a spot. I was doing the same thing. Am I going to come back with 3 cars or am I going to come back with 1 car? And I couldn't get 1 car because I had no access to a fax machine. I had no access to my COIs. I mean, it would took me 2 days to get in and out of Atlanta, Georgia, just to go to Chicago. So I paid my 5% to Jay. But then what happens is you build a relationship with Jay or someone like that, hopefully. And then all of a sudden he knows, hey man, this is where the guy wants to go. These are the routes you want to do. And we had a lot of weird discussions about like Jay was basically 929. I mean, hell, I think we sent him a shirt.
Yeah, I've got a shirt, man. Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you ain't wearing it.
I know. I didn't think of it, man. It's in my closet.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, the thing is that you the whole time, no offense to Jay, but the whole time I was thinking that I need to build a relationship with a dispatcher that works for the company that knows that I know what they're doing all the time, knows exactly what lanes we want to be in and know how I want to pay them according to that. And you have to have a couple of trucks for that. You can't do it with just 1 truck. One good thing about Jay was doing, I think we were doing what, 4 trucks that were non-compete with me.
Oh yeah, exactly. I had about 5.
Which was one of my biggest concerns because I don't want to sit here and try to figure out, well, this guy on the other end of the phone, he's loading up me out of Texas, but who the hell else is he loading up out of Texas? You know, when he tells me there's nothing there, I want to know that there's nothing there. You know what I mean? So it's like a relationship thing. I mean, we learned it over the years. We even talked about equipment. We talked about advancing different things. I mean, I didn't buy another piece of equipment until I talked to you because you were the anchor of the company, you know. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I thought, well, I need to bring somebody in. And then that's when Aaron came in and we learned, hey, you know, we're going to try to do this ourselves so that we know what we're doing. And what the thing with Aaron is that it was a lot of shit to put on you to say, hey, Jay, these people keep calling you about us picking up stuff. Well, it's hard to build a relationship with a guy that's outside of that. He's taking his 5%. He's not going to bring a customer in. Well, when I went internally and we had our own dispatcher, if someone said, hey, I love the job he did, all right, well, call us again. And so we made a connection and we became I never think of a customer as a customer. It's always about a partner. You know, what can we do for you? What can we do for you? You know, you struggled. What can we fix? Well, the problem is that when you're behind the wheel, you can't have those type of conversations. When you're sitting on the phone, you can, you know, and you'd be amazed at how many times that someone called back and said, hey, I need this moved. And you figure out what they want. And then you add that to your mix. And then the next thing you know, you're not just hauling cars anymore. Now you're fucking family, you know? I mean, how do you fire those guys? Who gives a shit what it costs, you know? So that's the relationships that we built. And I did that a lot off that guy right there in the hat backwards. I mean, that guy, he hooked me up a lot.
You know, man, I appreciate what you say. You know, what's cool, I learned a lot from you. Don, you were the first car hauler that I worked with that wasn't just relying on me and all the load boards and everything. You were building your customer base. I mean, you worked really hard on that. And I think that's when my eyes started to get open, like, wait a minute, there is a better way to do this. Rather than just asking me, just make me some money, you know?
No, you can't do that. You're not. I mean, goddamn, I wish I could call you and tell you and make me money. If I could, everybody would pay you a lot of money. It's not that.
Well, I tell you what, I have had guys stare at me on the phone and say, make me money. Where are we going?
That's not a reality.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, you got to find your lanes. You got to find what your anchors, you know, what we always called anchors, and you build a relationship. And I mean, the very first load you ever booked for me, I was coming out of Atlanta. I gave you a credit card and I was like, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I did it. And then the very first load we booked, we went to Texas and we made a lot of money going in. And I was like, oh man, this guy left me hanging. And I mean, that's what anybody would think in their rational mind. I've got $100,000 of equipment. I mean, I'm sitting in the middle of Texas. Hell, I don't know where I'm going, what I'm going to do next. And then you hook me up. And from there, it was history. And I think that's one of the things is that if you're going to get a dispatcher, you've got to be able to commit to, maybe you don't test it quite like I did. You don't throw, I mean, I threw everything at you, man. I'll be honest with you. That was everything I had. We were sitting in Texas with it. But you test the waters with it. You test the waters and you learn, and maybe you get it from a friend that's already learned. You know, you don't want to lose your ass in this business because it's real hard to make $1,000, but it's real easy to lose 9,000.
You know what you did though, Don? Here's another thing you taught me. You were the first driver to every night before I went to bed, you were sending me loads that you liked. Try to call these first thing in the morning.
Right.
And there you are. You're in the driver's seat. You're telling me. You're directing me.
Each other, man.
And that's the way to do
know
it.
what I think.
I loved that.
Like me, we'd be in trouble.
I started telling my other drivers, hey, I got a driver doing this. Will you do this? And I had a couple people like, well, you're the dispatcher.
We were like, 7 days a week, 20. I remember one night, 11:30 at night, man.
Oh, yeah. No, we did. We worked late. But you were right there. We were side by side. You didn't tell me to go.
But once you got it, though, once you got it, you got it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Then we built trust, and I could book it. But also that was if you
think about it this way, I guess this is the best thing I can tell somebody is that if I was going to hire somebody for a dispatcher, right, and it was going to cost me just whatever 5%, whatever, it's $300 a week, whatever, $400 a week. You ain't going to obviously just hire them and put them in a damn driver's seat and let them go and run the whole company. You know what I mean? You've got to train them. And if you don't take the time to train them, then don't fucking hire them because it makes no sense. Do it yourself. You know, I can't trust you with my load if you and I aren't on the same lane. And it's the same way if somebody was working on my truck. I'm not going to let a guy work on my truck that I don't trust. It's probably even more. It's more than that. You know, you're booking everything, and I don't want to send 3 trucks to Arizona, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, sleeping in my bed, going, well, I hope Jay's going to get it figured out. When it's all said and done, after maybe 3-4 months or something like that, maybe I knew Jay had it figured out. You know, I mean,
but at the same, but you also had customers. That's where your bread and butter was.
We hooked up with those as we went along. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But that you knew that had to be part of the strategy.
Well, yeah. I mean, anybody.
Well, yeah, exactly. But not everybody thinks that way.
No, it's not about going off the board. I mean, you can't go off the board. I love the board. Don't get me wrong. The board's a great idea. It's a great backhaul. It's a great hole filler. It's not for making a living. You just can't. It's not. There's too many people out there doing too many stupid things, and it's got too many hands in it. One
of the things I found frustrating is that we book all these loads, we made all these things happen, we talked to folks, gained their trust, did the COI, but I was under such intense pressure that I didn't have time to go back and ask the relationship I just made if they had another load next week or next day, because working as a hired gun dispatcher for several companies, not being under one roof, I didn't have time to build those relationships.
And that's not what you're paid to do.
Well, that's and that's what we're talking about.
Owners.
That's where the smack comes. That's right. The owner's got to take control. Give me that customer database.
Everything we do is monetary. Everything was monetary. I mean, I would love to wake up and do a lot of things I want to do, but if I'm not getting paid for it, I'm not going to do it. And it's the same way with you. I mean, I think I told you several times, you call me like at least 3 or 4, maybe a dozen times, maybe. I think 3 or 4 is shallow, probably like 12 times. And you said, hey, this guy's going to be a good connection. And I made sure that you were hooked up. I mean, somewhere along the way, outside of what you were doing or whatever, I was going to make sure you had money. You know, because it's something important that it was something you called on to that I wasn't there for. And that's what those conversations are. When you're on the phone, you're creating a relationship.
And you were the one to solidify the handshake. I gave you the lead.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but you had, that's the thing is, this is the whole point, is that while dispatchers perform a very important function, you said it, relationships are the key. And the key to forging the relationship and making it stick is the owner.
It is. Yeah, it's no joke.
Right.
It's a lot of damn work.
The owner.
Sue, what were you going to say?
No, I completely agree with you. It is the owner. I think we're set up to do a certain job, but the way I always look at it is we work for them. That's what I always tell everybody. We are your office, not in your home. You know what I mean? And we're here to help you, but you are still the owner. You are the one representing yourself out there. We're going to represent you professionally when we're talking to people and taking loads and verifying the loads and, talking to the places and stuff like that. But ultimately, you're the one that's going to go down if something goes wrong. And you're the one who has to take the responsibility for all of that. So, I mean, that's what I always say. We work for you. We're not the owner. You are. You've got to make the big decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just like a dealership with a secretary out front. You're not going to hire. You're not going to hire a badass secretary that's going to yell at people. You're going to hire somebody that's pleasant, that's nice, that makes you feel comfortable, give them a coffee, and has them wait. And that's what you do. I mean, it's just like hiring an employee.
So here's where I need some help from everybody. Because of Jay, and because of his show, I'm getting a lot of calls that ask for dispatchers.
All right.
I still do not have an answer.
For dispatchers?
No, for carriers that want a dispatcher, I do not have an answer.
We actually still don't have, we still need, I guess we still need dispatchers.
Well, yeah.
But we don't need more new car haulers saying, I got a truck, I got a trailer, now I need a dispatcher. And
well, there you go.
I'm gold.
There's your answer right there. Don't go buy a truck and trailer until you know the third piece of the puzzle. That's common damn sense. That's not just it's in everything. You have to have all the pieces to the puzzle. I mean, I can't make a 12-piece puzzle with 9 pieces. It doesn't make sense.
I love
to have all the pieces.
I love what you're saying. Is it common sense?
It is common sense. You have to have, I mean, I don't know who would spend $100,000 and not have work. It just don't make sense. I mean, if you do,
happens.
I got money all in you right now, 20%.
It happens. It happens every day.
Don, listen, man. Sue, you go first.
Yes, it happens all the time. I mean, I get calls on a regular basis.
Okay, so you're
say
getting
exactly
calls.
that.
Let's say you get 1 a day, and let's say I get 4 a day. There's 5 a day. That's 25 people spending $100,000 in a week that have no clue
idea
what they're doing. None.
And I don't know if that's just in this trucking industry. I mean, I don't know. I don't own too many. I
think it's in everything. I come across people all the time in businesses. Like if we're going to use the restaurant scenario, they just decide they're going to open up a restaurant. They've sunk, $25,000 or $100,000 into it, but they don't know anything about food costs. They don't know anything about. I mean, it's the same concept. It happens all the time. It's crazy.
That is just stupid. But hey, what's funny is that every time they fail, then it makes all the good guys. I mean, we sit here and criticize these guys that don't make it, but in all reality, man, I'll be honest with you. I want 90% of those people to fail. Because I want to be the 10%.
Let me say this.
I mean, that's no joke.
I'm going to help you out. I'm going to say this.
Family show.
I'm going to
say.
Well,
I like to make money.
You know what's cool?
I'm not
I'm going to say this. I know Don, and Don is a great guy. So let me help interpret what you said. I'm going to say this is that we don't want anybody to fail. But what we do know is if you come into this half-cocked, not even quarter-cocked, you got your truck and your trailer and no plan, well, how do you expect to succeed?
Yeah.
And
I
guys
agree.
like Don will eat you alive. Come
Yeah,
on.
they will. And because there's a lot of good car
Good
haulers out
example.
there. And that's part of this too. I want
Yeah.
to meet every great car hauler. I don't think it's possible, but I would like to.
Yeah, you just got to do your due diligence, man. I mean, you
Due
can't put a business
diligence.
plan
Yes.
together without that part. It's in your you put it what you put it together at like a well, how many steps was in that, Jay? 12, 20.
Oh, the 20 steps to start car hauling.
Just go back to that. I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty
if you
awesome.
can't
You
do
helped me
that,
with that.
securing finance is hard, but that's not even the hardest part. If you can't secure customers, then don't mess with it, you know. And if you want to go out on a whim, I mean, that's your call. I wouldn't do it. Even with just a dispatcher you don't even know. You got to have something kind of locked in. It's just like any business. People don't get in business without knowing something, you know.
And I'll tell you what, you know what? Since we talked about Central Dispatch, I'm going to say this. I don't think Central Dispatch makes it any easier to learn how to do this industry. You can run through your 30-day free trial before you've got all the pieces in place. I really wish Central Dispatch or whoever invents the next great load board or whatever it's going to be called, the load matching center, that allow drivers time to get to know your technology. Don't just throw out some kind of willy-nilly 30 days because 30 is a good number that people like to use. Help the driver learn your tool and give them time to use the tool, learn the tool, and so that tool actually benefits them. And by the way, if there's something they don't like about your tool, listen to them.